Hello, my good people. It is my pleasure to host you this evening. It is my pleasure to host you this evening. I would like us to do something little on loan schedule. Hello, my good people. And it is my pleasure to host you this evening. It is my pleasure to host you this evening. To do something little on loan schedule. Hello, my good people, and it is my pleasure to host you. Pleasure to host you this evening. Something little on schedule. And it is my pleasure to host you. Hello, my good people. So let's look at what we...
I don't think that it really is that important.
Let's look at loan schedule, and our interest is to automate this loan schedule. Our interest today is to automate this loan schedule. Our interest today is to automate the loan schedule. Remember, you are getting all this from RCM Online College. You are getting all this from RCM Online College. You are getting this from RCM Online College. You are getting all this from RCM Online. So let's see what we can do right away. Let's cover or what we can do in these few minutes that we have here. So this is what we have. You normally see people or banks using their templates to give loans to employees. You normally see banks using their templates to give customers loans or even their employees loans. And they don't need to calculate those loans rates every now and then. They have a preset template. They have a preset template that always help them to do that work. So today we want to just cover a bit of that section. We want to just cover a portion of that section whereby they normally have this part. Let's call it loan. Let's call it loan. Let's call it loan. So I will increase the fonts to make you see it clearly. So they normally have loans there. So we have the loan, we have annual rates, we have annual rates, we have annual rates, we have years, if it is years or period. So from there we will be able to come up with some now items that are going to change. So we want to now convert the annual rate to now interest rate to be dependent on the payment period. So let's now call it interest rate, which is the annual rate there. Then the years will be changing based on the period of payment in a year. And then here we are going to have what we call payment, periodic payment, which is normally called PMT. So we are going to get our PMT there. And for this illustration, I would like us to use these few things. For this illustration, I would like us to use these few things. That is to say, I'd like us to have something there called frequency of payment, or let's call it, let's just call it, we are going to have the years there, time in years or in months. Then we are going to have M. M represent the number of payments in a year. So time can be annually. Payment can be done annually. It can be done semi-annually. It can be done quarterly. It can be done quarterly. It can be done quarterly or monthly. It can be done quarterly or monthly. It can be done quarterly or monthly. Then we now have monthly basis. You can go that way until you reach weekly or even daily. So how many times are you going to pay this loan in a year? If it is annual, it is going to be once. Semi-annually, you are going to do it twice in a year. Quarterly, we have 4 quarters in a year. So we are going to pay it 4 times. What about monthly? What about monthly? You are going to do it 12 times in a year. That's what we have there. So with this, we can now proceed. Let's bring this one up here. Let's bring it somewhere there. And then here, we are going to create a key. We are going to create a key. We are going to create a key that is going to help us now get these items without struggling. Sorry. It is going to help us find these things without struggling. So first thing is to have sample here. Let's take that this company is going to give out a loan of 200. Annual rate is 6%. Sorry, annual rate is 6% here. Let's make it to be 3 years. Interest rate, period, and periodic payments, those are the things we are going to make in, or we are going to justify in this. So we have loan details. So this is where we have our loan details, and therefore we want to make now to define the name of these cells. We want to define the name of these cells and do it this way. So we are going to call them, we are going to give them a name that is dependent on the items in column B. So just go to formulas, create from selection, then you want to do it using the left. And in doing so, you will be able to see that when we now place our cursor here, it is no longer called C9, but it is called C. It is called PMT. Period the same, year the same, annual rate, loan, and loan details. Though loan details is not part of that, but let's just have it that way. You also come and do the same to these items here. Highlight this, move to formulas, create from selection, then pick left. So having done that, you will be able to see now the names are being defined. Let's now create frequency. Or before we go to frequency, it is now going to be right to use these items here. We want to bring these names to be the frequency, so such that if it is annually, then rate will automatically comply with annually. So just place your cursor here. It means we are going to do what we call data validation. We are going to do what we call data validation. So place your cursor there, move to data validation, pick it, under allow, pick list, under allow pick list, then source is going to be these names that are here, and then you say okay. So from there you will be able to see a drop down list such that if you are going to take that loan on annual basis, you just pick annually. If you're going to do it on semi-annually, just pick semi-annually, and you will be able to see it changing as you click it there. So frequency is what is going to determine how the loan is going to be paid. So we want to now link our frequency key with the interest rate and period. We want to link our frequency rate with interest rate and period. And then we say, so for interest rate, the annual rate is 6. And therefore, if it is less than, or if it is going to be on monthly basis, then we take the rate, divide by the frequency. But if it is for the case of the year, which is going to be changed to period, then we multiply frequency here by the number of years. So let's start with interest rate. Then you activate your cell. We are now going to use if function. We are going to use if function to help us do this. We are going to use if function to help us do this. So how will we use if function to do that? How will we use if function to do this? How will we use if function to do this? Very simple. Very simple. Just say equal to if. Tests, we are saying if this one here, the frequency key, which should be fully locked because you're not going to move away from it. If that frequency key is equal to this name here, fully locked, comma, then we will take our interest rate and divide it by annually. So if our frequency here is equal to annually, then we are going to take annual rate divided by annually, comma, that one is done. So we do the same until all these lists or these items in the list are picked. So another one, we say if, click your tab button, if this one here is equal to F4 to full dollar reference is equal to if that one is equal to this, if that one is equal to I14, which is now semi-annually, comma, then we will take our annual rate and divide it by the frequency of payment in an year or in a year, doing it semi-annually, comma, say if this frequency key fully locked is equal to quarterly fully locked, comma, then we will take our annual rate, we divide by quarterly, comma, if our frequency key fully locked is equal to our monthly section, comma, then we'll take our annual rate, we divide by monthly or frequency, then we say comma. So if it does not meet all those conditions, then it should return to us an empty cell. Then it should return to us an empty cell, and then we close all the brackets. and then we close all the brackets. So in doing that, you'll be able to see that if we now say the payment is supposed to be done on annual basis, then it gives us the original interest rate, which is 6% per annum. So we can say, we can copy this format. We can copy that format for the case of the loan rate. We can copy that format for the case of the loan rate that way. So it's going to be 6%. What about period? Remember, we've now connected them such that if you want to pick here, it automatically changes those items. Let's do the same to period. What are we going to do with the period? Remember, period now it is the opposite, not dividing, but we are multiplying. So we'll say equal to if our frequency key is equal to annually fully locked, comma, we are going to take the year, multiply by the frequency, comma, if this one here, the frequency key, is equal to semi-annually, the comma, then we are going to take year, we multiply by the semi-annual times our frequency, comma, if semi-annually key is equal to, frequency key is equal to this, the frequency section, Fn, F4, comma, then we'll take year, we multiply by this, comma, if the last one, our frequency section is equal to monthly, comma, we will take year, multiply, we'll take year, multiply by that. If it does not meet all those conditions, it should return to us an empty cell, and then we close all the brackets. So if we do it that way, you can now see, if we pick it semi-annual, we are going to have 6, which means it is taking 3, multiplying by 2, the frequency of payment in a year. So if I say monthly, I expect it to take 3 years, multiply by 12 to give me 36, but now take 6, divide by 12 to give me 0.5%. So that is how I have automated my loan section. That's how I have automated the first part of the loan schedule. Let's now connect our frequency with the periodic payment. So we are going to say equal to, remember the payments are cash outflow, so they are going to have a negative, and therefore, for me to avoid that negative, I start by introducing a negative sign, then I say PMT. So if you check there, I have 2 PMTs. So the first one is the original formula in the Excel. The second one is what we created here, this PMT. So let's pick the first one. So rate is here, we have it there, comma. Number of periods, we have it here, comma. Present value is the loan amount, comma. Future value, 0 because we don't have it, comma. When is this loan going to be paid? Is it at the end of each period or at the beginning of each period? So let's pick 0 to represent at the end of each period for the purpose of this illustration. So if we do that, we'll be able to see that that is what we have as the periodic payment. So if I now increase the loan amount to 200,000, let's use 200,000, then that is what we are getting as the periodic payment. So you will have to pay this amount for how many months? for 36 months. We'll have to pay this amount for 36 months for you to pay back the entire loan. So that's the first part of the loan schedule. That is the first part of the loan schedule. And therefore, having prepared that, so if I want to say, let's take it that it was not done on monthly basis, it was done on quarterly basis. I don't need to change anything here. I just come here, pick my quarterly basis, and I will be able to see it automating to what I need. If it is on semi-annual basis, I just pick that, and these 3 items of interest automatically changes to meet my requirements. So with that, you are now free to move to the next part. You are now free to move to the next part of the loan schedule, which is now the actual or automated loan schedule. So here we are going to have what we call beginning balance. Beginning balance. So we are going to have beginning balance there. But before we start with beginning balance, let's look at what we call period. Let's look at what we call period. There is something here that we must have, period. We have beginning balance. Then we'll have now the payment. So, or installment, we call it payment. We call it payment or installment, which is now the PMT. It is now the PMT. Having taken that payment, having taken care of the payment, we are going to see the interest component, which we are going to use IPMT function to help us get that interest. And then finally, or next one, we are going to see now the principal amount paid. Principal amount paid. And then the last one, we are going to look at the ending balance. We are going to look at ending balance. And the principal, we're going to use what we call PPMT function to help us get that. PPMT function to help us get that. So period, let's have 0 there for our understanding. Then here, for us to insert now the function here, for us to insert the function there, we'll say equal to if this function here, if our period is greater than this first number, comma, then we will take this first number plus 1. If not, then it should give us an empty cell. And since period is greater than that, you will see it giving us 1. So you just do that, let's say to this point. I just want you to understand something there. It is reaching 4. So let me take this back to annually. Remember, there are only 3 years. It is now eliminating 4, but this cell has got the formula. If I change these years to 2, you will see it now eliminating 3 and remaining with 2. So that's how I automate the period section. Beginning balance for period 0 is 0, but ending balance for period 0 is the loan amount. So remember the loan amount, we just say loan. You will find it there. So it is the loan in the worksheet. That is what we pick. So it is the amount in the worksheet, this one here. If I try to edit it, you will see it highlighting the loan amount in the loan section. So that is what we have there. And that is the ending balance in period 1. What about, in period 0? So in period 1, beginning balance is the ending balance of that one there. That is what we have. Payment, it was already given there. So just say equal to this. It is what we're looking for. Interest, we look for it. It is the beginning balance multiplied by the interest rate. That is the old method. Let's now use an advanced method. That is to say equal to IPMT, which appears in blue there. So what is the rate? Our rate is interest rate here, comma. Period is this, period 1, comma. Number of period is what is provided here, comma. Present value is the loan amount. So just go and pick it there, or you type the name. You will see it giving you the name there, comma. Future value 0. Type is at the end of the period. And remember, interest is cash outflow. So we have to introduce a negative here to make it a positive. And that's how we get our interest. What about principal? What about principal? What about getting principal? We are going to use that function to get our principal. We are going to use that function to get our principal. So how do we get the principal? How do we get the principal? How do we get the principal? We simply say equal to PPMT, so rate provided here, comma, period is 1, comma, number of periods provided up there, comma, present value is the loan amount, comma, future value 0, then type is 0 to mean end of the period, close your bracket. But then principal is cash outflow, so we introduce a negative there to get the answer. Ending balance is equal to beginning balance minus principal amount. So if we do that, then the loan payment should be completed in period 2 based on what we have taken as the, so let's see what will happen. So you will see that it is going to be paid for 2 years, and then in year 2, at the end of year 2, the balance will be 0. So the loan shall have been completed. The loan shall have been completed. The loan shall have been completed. But then below them, we have these values or these errors here. Below them, we have these errors here, and these errors can be corrected. We want to automate them such that these errors should not appear, but instead it should remain as what we did for the period here, where we automated it and it has no errors. So how are we going to do that? So we are going to do that in all of them. having done that for the period, we are going to do the same thing. So we'll say equal to if our period year is greater than or equal to this, comma, it should return to us that answer. If not, it should remain empty. That is what we are going to do to all of them. So we set it that way. Come to this place again, we say if period is greater than or equal to this, comma, it should give us PMT. If not, it should remain an empty cell, such that if there are no values, then it will not have anything there. Do the same setting there. If period is greater than or equal to this, comma, it should give us that answer. If not, the cell should be an empty cell. Come to this part and say if period is greater than or equal to period column, comma, it should give us this entire answer. If not, it should return to us an empty cell. Do the same to this. The last one we say equal to if period is greater than or equal to this, comma, it should get us that difference. If not, comma, then the cell should remain empty. So having set this, having set the formulas in these cells, we can now drag it, let's say up to even 1,000 rows. Let's do it even up to 1,000 rows. Let's do it even up to 1,000 rows and see what will happen. Let's do it up to 1,000 rows and see what will happen to our loan schedule. So let's do it up to 1,000 there. Let's do it up to 1,000. So the formula is already in these cells, as you can see, but there are no values because the loan has not reached that part. So we can just say here, that is the end for just this illustration. For this illustration, we can take that as the end. So having done that, we can now again say, pick them that way. Pick them that way, and then introduce borders. So let's introduce borders. Let's introduce borders. So having introduced borders to that extent, you can now see that our loan schedule is automated. We can make this one here to 2 decimal places. We can make it to 2 decimal places and then automate or paint that formula. We can paint that formula. We can paint that formula. We can paint that formula up to this part here. Let's see. We can paint that formula up to this last part here. Let's paint it up to this last part of our data. So it is in this part where we want to paint 2 decimal places all through. So that is what we have. That is what we have there. That is what we have there. That is what we have there as our loan items. So let's say, I think we can also paint it here. We can also paint it here. We can also paint it here. For purposes of understanding, we can also paint it here. For purposes of understanding, we can have it there. Then we say that reduce it to maybe to 0, but 2 is okay. 2 is okay with this. 2 is okay with this function or with this our illustration. Then we can increase the font for you to see it very well. Let's make it to there. Let's make it to that. I want this one here to be general for just our understanding. But I've realized our borders have disappeared. So let me check them back. So this is the this is the title. We can make the title bold and even give it a different color, something of that kind. So that's what we have. So if we decide now that you are being given a loan of 500,000, that is the only thing you change. Interest rate per annum, let's say for bank is 13%, is what you change. Now, number of periodic payments, let's say you're going to do it for 5 years and you're going to do it on monthly basis. So we just come here and pick monthly. That is the only thing you change, and you are seeing that period is going to be 60. So we expect that in period 60, we are going to have a 0 ending balance, and there is no any year that is going to be below or period that is going to be after 60. After 60, we expect an empty cell. So that is what we have here as an empty cell. We have 0 as the ending balance. So that is how we automate our loan schedule. That's how we automate our loan schedule. Remember, you are getting all this. You are getting all this from. Remember, you are getting all this from. You are getting all this from. You are getting all these from RCM Online College. We are getting all this from RCM Online College. Our number is 07 19 525,000, and we offer these courses, that is CPA, ACCA, Advanced Excel, iTax. We offer iTax. We offer data analytics. We offer data analytics. That is the practical paper introduced by CASNEB. And finally, we also have QUICKBOOks. We also have QUICKBOOks. So all these are available at RCM Online College. All these are available at RCM Online College at affordable prices. All these are available at RCM College at affordable prices. Please contact us through 0719 525 to get all these. We also have CPA past papers or revision kits with answers already worked out. We have study text at 1,500, revision kit 1,000. If you want to come to our offices physically, then we are at Corner House. We are at Corner House, 13th floor. We are at Corner House, 13th floor, where we're going to get RCM offices, and you will be getting all these revision kits and study texts and any other inquiry that you'd like to make physically. But without that, still you can reach us through 0719 525,000. Thanks for your time, and we are looking forward to meeting you and you joining our classes or getting a taste of these services of high quality at RCM Online College. Thanks for your time, and that is the end of our sharing. Thanks for your time, and that's the end of our sharing.